Hey y'all, it's Sierra, aka Capricorn Moon Goddess, back with another video for you all, and this is going to be in my series of the spiritual and practical uses of herbs, oils, plants, and all of that good stuff. So we are going to be discussing holy basil, also known as Tulsi, in this video. And let me tell y'all, I was sent down a rabbit hole into Hinduism as I was studying this video. So we're going to talk about the practical benefits, but the bulk of this video is going to be about the spiritual uses or correspondences for holy basil, okay? So we're going to talk about the practical uses first, and then we're going to go ahead and get into the spiritual parts of this, okay? So let's first talk about the aroma of holy basil. Now, this is not the same as basil, so don't expect it to smell exactly the same. It actually smells like a mix of clove, basil, anise, which is basically the smell of licorice, as well as mint and pepper. Now, in my opinion, the clove stands out the most, and that's probably because it has one of the same active ingredients that clove oil has, which is eugenol. So that's probably why you can smell the clove a lot more. And this is based off of me smelling the essential oil and not the actual plant. Sometimes plants and the essential oils have different smells. So this is based off of the essential oil. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the many names of holy basil. We already talked about one, which is Tulsi. Now there are many varieties of holy basil, so I'm not going to be able to talk about all of the different varieties in this video. We would literally be here all day if I was to do that, and it's already going to be a long video, and we know in the world of social media, people got short attention spans, okay? So for those of you that watch the entire video, I appreciate you. Even if you gotta stop, take breaks, come back, I appreciate you watching till the very end, and I hope you learned some valuable information, okay? Now let's get back to holy basil, and we're gonna have to go back to school a little bit and talk about some vocab when it comes to names and classifications of herbs. Now there are typically two different names that you will hear. There's the scientific or botanical name, which is a two-part name, and it is in Latin. So if you see two words in Latin, that's the scientific or botanical name. And then there is the common name that usually is just one word, and it doesn't have to be in Latin, okay? So why are there two types of names for plants? Now, most people are not going to walk around talking and speaking in Latin, okay? The scientific botanical names are in Latin, and it's not the easiest language to pronounce or read. So most people prefer to use the plant's common names when they are speaking in day-to-day conversation. So unless you're talking to a scientist or a botanist or giving a lecture or something like that, you typically are not going to be walking around saying the scientific names, okay? So I guess I should put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay, so you're not gonna go to the plant store and say, hey, do you have Ocimum sanctum? Okay, most people are not gonna do that, and if you do that, the people at the plant store are probably gonna look at you like, what? But you are probably going to say, hey, do you have holy basil? Now, if you're looking for a specific type of holy basil, then you may say, hey, do you have holy basil Rama, or do you have holy basil KRISHNA? Those are two different types of holy basil, two different varieties of holy basil. So that's why there are two different names when you see plants and essential oils and things of that nature. Now, speaking of Rama and Krishna, those names do have spiritual ties, so we'll get into that later. But like I said, this herb sent me down a rabbit hole of spiritual meanings and correspondences and folklore, okay? So we'll discuss the practical side of holy basil first, and then we'll move on to the spiritual side. Now, as I said, there are scientific botanical names for holy basil. and its many different varieties. So we're going to go over 3 of them today. The first one is Ocimum sanctum. The second one is Ocimum tenuiflorum. And the third one is Ocimum gratissimum. Okay? Now, from what I was able to see in my research, the sanctum and tenuiflorum varieties are pretty much used interchangeably. Although the color of the leaves can differentiate them and break them down further into their own categories, which are Rama and Krishna, okay? But other than that, they're pretty much the same besides how they look. That's what I gathered from the information that I got. Okay, so let's talk about Holy Basil Rama. Holy Basil Rama is the common name for Ocimum sanctum, and it is a tropical perennial commonly used in the United States. That's actually the kind that I have. I have this essential oil, and this particular variety of it yields lots of plants, and it is short, just like me. Okay, so if you want to know which version this is based on looking at it, if you see a lot of flowers and a short plant, this is probably the Rama version that you're looking at. Okay, now Holy Basil Krishna, if you just remember purple, you'll be able to tell this one from the other ones. Okay, so the common name for Holy Basil Krishna is Ocimum tenuiflorum, and it has green leaves that turn purple. The stems are mainly purple. This is very potent, and it is used in tea for Ayurvedic medicine, mostly in India. It is a tropical perennial. And it does help with throat infection. So maybe if you make a tea with this, if you have like a sore throat or something, it would be helpful. And it does have adaptogen properties. So an adaptogen is a plant or mushroom that helps the body respond to stress, anxiety, and fatigue. So you could either use the essential oil in an essential oil burner, or you can make tea with it, and it may help you by basically stopping the body from releasing the stress hormones all over your body. Okay, so the next type is Holy Basil VANA, and that's the common name for Ocimum gratissimum. It is high in eugenol, which is found in clove oil. I believe it's what mostly makes up clove oil. And this is probably what gives it the analgesic or pain relieving property. So for example, you may see Oragel or the different types of gels you can use for tooth pain. If you look on there, it'll say it's a analgesic, which just means it is pain relieving, and that is basically what cloves are used for as well. This grows along roadsides, and it is native to India and East Africa. All right. Now, there are more types that I've come across, but like I said, we cannot talk about all of them. So I'm just going to talk about the 3 main versions or varieties that I see. We would be here all day if we talked about all of them, so we're not going to do that. So if I leave one out, that's why. You don't got to get in the comment section like, hey, you forgot this one. I didn't have time. Trust me, I saw it, I read about it, but I didn't have time to put it in this, because this took me so long to make, y'all. So long. Now, some of the practical uses of holy basil include skin cleansing, using it in household cleaners. Now, if you do want to use it for skin cleansing, make sure you dilute it properly, okay? It can be used for tooth pain due to the eugenol and beta-caryophyllene constituents. It can also be used as deodorizer for adrenal fatigue, acne, for blood sugar disorders by lowering your blood sugar, helping with insulin resistance and hypertension, which I'm interested in the hypertension benefits because I have hypertension that just popped up out of nowhere and the doctors cannot figure out why. So it could just be a genetic thing where there is no reason. It's not diet, it's not weight, it's not anything that I'm doing. It's just here, okay? And I'm way too young for this to be popping up. So right now I do have to take blood pressure medication. We're also thinking it has a lot to do with stress. So I recently quit my job. So we're going to see if that helps with the hypertension. But I'm definitely going to be looking further into using holy basil for hypertension. It can also lower your cholesterol, okay? It's also used for hyperthyroidism, insect bites, antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-inflammatory. So if you have like eczema or those type of skin conditions where the skin becomes inflamed, this may be good for that. And it seems like it would work from the inside out, since you can ingest it as a tea as well as use it topically. Of course, when you're using it topically, you want to dilute it properly. It's also good for stress relief because it is a corticosteroid modulator, and it restricts the nervous system by reducing the circulation of stress hormones. So like I was saying earlier, it stops the body from circulating or releasing stress hormones. And we're going to talk about stress hormones and how the mind and the different hormones and bodily functions are all connected in future videos. So stay tuned, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and get into the spiritual uses. So this is where this video is going to get a little bit lengthy. So if you are not interested in the spiritual uses and you only wanted to know the practical uses, thank you for watching, okay? But if you are interested in the spiritual uses, stay tuned. I appreciate everybody that's watching this to the end, like I said. Now, holy basil is considered to be the embodiment of goddess Lakshmi and other women as well. We'll get into those stories a little bit later. It is used widely in Hinduism. It's used in ceremonies to invite divine presence. So your spirit guides or your higher power, you might want to light up some holy basil or burn some holy basil or put it out as an offering to invite in your divine, whoever your divine power is, okay? It is believed to open the heart, bring harmony, protection, wealth, prosperity, and purification, which you can also use regular basil for those particular things as well. So if you don't have holy basil, sometimes you can substitute basil. If you are specifically doing Hindu practices, though, you might want to just try to get holy basil if you can. Okay, so there are some Christians that believe that it grew at the site where Christ was crucified and was found near his tomb. Also, according to the Padma Purana, Tulsi is the embodiment of spirituality. That's saying a lot. The embodiment of spirituality. It's the very essence of all devotional activities used in worship, and it is considered to be a sattvic herb, okay? Now, sattvic just means pure essence. It is basically used in yogic practices or Hinduism, and the foods in this category are believed to correspond with the principles of light, perception, and clarity, okay? It includes foods that are light and healthy, and they're used in Ayurvedic and yogic practices. It's thought that these foods increase energy, happiness, calmness, and mental clarity. So fasting can do those things, basically going without something or without food at all or without particular foods. So you may want to try a sattvic diet if you are a person that fasts a lot and see how that works out for you. Now, sattvic foods are considered to be the highest out of all the foods in yogic practices because they do classify the foods into different groups, okay? And foods that are high in fiber and low in fat are included in this diet, and it is a vegetarian diet. All right, let's get into some more spiritual uses and information. Now, esoterical teachings say that holy basil balances the electromagnetic field around the body, which is basically the subtle body, and it is invisible to the human eye at this time. There are some Greeks who use it to prepare holy water, okay? Maybe it's their version of like Florida water, if you've heard of that. And also there are some cultures that place holy basil at the end of one's deathbed to purify the soul. So any last minute sins you need to atone for, they feel like putting holy basil next to you will help you basically to become, as pure as possible before you pass. Now let's talk about holy basil in Hinduism. Like I said, studying holy basil led me down a rabbit hole into Hinduism, and you basically can't discuss the spiritual uses of holy basil without discussing Hinduism. Like, it's just kind of impossible. Now, Hinduism does have a lot of twists and turns and mythological stories. They have several variations to these stories, and I could not encapsulate all of that in this video. So remember, this is not all encompassing. This does not have all the information that is out there to be had, studied, looked into when it comes to holy basil and Hinduism, okay? So I am discussing what stood out to me. What stood out to me is I found that the common names for holy basil also correspond with deities in Hinduism. So that's mainly what I'm going to be focusing on today, okay? But if you want to know everything about it, go ahead and do your own research, because it never hurts to do your own research. I'm just saying. Now, holy basil is referred to as Tulsi in Hinduism, so we will refer to it as Tulsi from this point on. And before we get into the deities, let's discuss some of the festivals, days, celebrations, rituals that are connected to Tulsi and are used in Hinduism. Now, it's interesting because today, I believe, is the 23rd, and I actually finished my research and made this on the 21st of April, and I realized there's some kind of Hinduism or Hindu or Hindi, I don't know the right word to say, celebration that was going on that day. I believe it's called Eid, like E-I-D. I'm not sure. I probably said that wrong, okay? But I just thought it was funny that I was studying this at the time that this was happening. I believe it might be the end of them having a fast for Ramadan or something like that. Don't get me to lying, y'all. Don't get me to lying. But I live in a multicultural area, so there's a lot of Muslims and Hindi, I don't know how you say it. And they're mainly of Middle Eastern and African descent. So we have a mosque by us. So I saw everybody dressed in their nice linens going to the mosque when I dropped my son off at school. So I just thought that was interesting, how everything kind of lines up. So let's talk about Tulsi Viva ritual. It's also called Tulsi Puja. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know if the J is pronounced or if it's silent, because, if you study Spanish, the J is silent sometimes. But I'm going to go ahead and pronounce the J, and if that's wrong, my bad. I'm sorry. Now, this is a ritual that's thought to bring luck, prosperity, and happiness to newlyweds. And there are some parents that may perform this ritual to pray for suitable partners for their children. Now, this ritual is an annual ritual, so it's done yearly, and it celebrates the marriage of Tulsi and Vishnu. And they celebrate this by reenacting it. Now, this is based on a story from Puranic text, so it is based on a story from folklore, and we'll get more into the story a little bit later. I'm going to briefly go over some of the details, but we're not going to really get into the nitty-gritty of the story until later in this video. So, in the story, there's a woman named Vrinda who self-immolates, who basically takes herself out of this realm. We can't say certain words, the S word, on YouTube, but you can read it, right? You see this word, right? So she basically took herself out because Vishnu, who is a very popular and important deity in Hinduism, he tricked her into losing her chastity, and when she found out what happened, she self-immolated, and Vishnu felt bad about it, so he allowed her to reincarnate as the Tulsi plant. And once he let her do that, he turned himself into a shaligram stone. So he was a stone, she was a plant. He married her while he was the stone and while she was the plant. And he did this to restore her chastity, okay? So we will get into the details about that later, but that's just basically why there is a wedding, or why they're reenacting the wedding, okay? So, now I did mention that this was from a Purana, which is basically a vast genre of Indian folklore, literature, mythology, and the different legends that have been passed down from generation to generation. And the Padma Purana is one of the major Puranas, so you may see me refer to that a lot in this video. It has large sections that are devoted to Vishnu, Shiva, and Shakti, and there are numerous versions and adaptations of all of these stories, okay? So you may have heard different versions out there. That's because there's a lot of different versions. So I'm going over the ones that stood out most to me, like I said, okay? Now, when it comes to the Padma Purana, the fourth part of the text is called the Brahma Kanda, which I've also seen written as, hold on, let me try to pronounce this. Brahma Vaivarta? Brahma Vaivarta? You know what? We're going to stick to Brahma Kanda, okay? The Brahma Kanda Purana Part 1, okay? It's called Brahma Kanda. I don't know which one it is or if they're interchangeable, but basically the point is it glorifies Vishnu, okay? Gonna be talking about Vishnu a lot in this video. And then the Patal Chanda, which is the fifth part of this Purana, speaks about Rama as one of the incarnations or avatars of Vishnu, and Sita as the incarnation of Lakshmi, who is Vishnu's consort, okay? Again, we're going to get more into that later. I'm just discussing why you're going to see certain words like Purana and things like that. Now let's talk about another tradition. So the Hindu tradition of Tulsi Mala is when they take Tulsi Mala beads and they basically use those in this ritual because they are favored by Lord Krishna, okay? We're gonna get into who Krishna is later, so calm down if you don't know who he is yet, okay? Calm down. In the Vishnu Purana, he says that anybody who wears Tulsi beads around their neck, they will be able to attain him. In the Skanda Purana, which is basically, remember, Purana is a story, it states that the wearer of Tulsi beads is among the most favored of devotees of Lord Vishnu. Now, y'all might see some spelling, grammar issues in here. Just ignore that, okay? Just ignore that. Even if they have bad karma, it's said that wearing the beads in devotion to him is enough to atone for all the sins. So what they're saying, like, you just gotta wear these beads and do this ritual. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into the ritual, but that's gonna help you atone for all of your sins. That's interesting, okay? Wearing Tulsi Mala beads can help one attain peace of mind and reduce stress, as well as purify their body. Wearing these beads is believed to heal throat disease, and there is a procedure that needs to be done prior to wearing these beads. So don't just think you're gonna go buy some beads and you haven't even studied the culture and you don't even know what you're supposed to do and all of that. Like, don't do that. There's a procedure, okay? You need to learn about this stuff before you just go trying to jump in and doing all this stuff, okay? Let's talk about Day of Dave Uthani Gayaras. Okay, anyway, I probably butchered that, but it's a traditional day where Vishnu devotees offer Tulsi Dal, or a branch or leaf of holy basil, to the Lord. In some of the Hindu Puranas, it's said that Vishnu took the form of the stone and married holy basil. We went over that story already. And it symbolized the start of wedding season in Hinduism. It often falls within the month of Kartik, which is a holy month in which devotees pray to Vishnu or Damodar. I've seen both. And avoid non-spiritual and non-religious activities, okay? Now let's talk about the women of Tulsi, because throughout mythology, Tulsi is the form of several different women. Now the Purana suggests that worshiping Tulsi under all the names will allow the worshiper to enjoy the remnants or qualities of each woman, because each woman has her own personality and her own good qualities about her, okay? What I saw as far as the names, Vrinda, which we talked about, she's the one who lost her chastity and Vishnu married her. So Vrinda, Vrindavani, Vishalpavani, Visvapujita, Tulasi, Pupasava, Nundini, Krishna, Vivani. And, you know, if I spell stuff wrong or if I'm missing something, my bad. Y'all see my disclaimer. If I spelled something wrong or missed some, my bad. I'm sorry. Okay. So let's talk about Tulsi and Vrinda, who was the woman in the story that we discussed. Vrinda was married to a demon named Jalendraha. I don't know, child. And he's also, I've seen his name as Jalandhar. So he was a very powerful and undefeated demon. Nobody had defeated him in battle. Now Vrinda was a very pious and devoted wife who was also dedicated to worshiping Lord Vishnu. And it's said that her dedication to her husband, her chastity, and her devotion is why he was so powerful and why he wasn't able to be defeated in battle. So I just want to point out here, when people want to know what women bring to the table, I mean, her devotion to her husband helped him win every battle. I'm just saying, don't sleep on us women, okay? Now, Lord Shiva wanted to slay Jalendraha and asked Lord Vishnu and help to be able to slay him. So, this is where the drama begins, okay? So, Lord Vishnu agreed to help Shiva, and he devised a plan to break Vrinda's chastity, because her chastity is why her husband was so powerful. So, he wanted to break that so he could weaken her husband and then he could be defeated. So, he disguised himself as her husband, Jalendraha. And y'all know I'm saying that wrong, but anyway. And he went to Vrinda, who thought he was her husband. So she embraced him. And I'm wondering, when they say embrace, do they mean she just hugged him? Or do they mean like they went all the way and, you know, went further than that? I don't know. Because sometimes they be speaking in code in these stories. Nonetheless, she embraced him. And when she saw him, she thought he was her husband, so she embraced him. And doing this broke her chastity, and it left her husband vulnerable and allowed Shiva to defeat him, okay? Now, remember I said she self-immolated, which is to take yourself out as an act of sacrifice, because we can't say the S word. So she self-immolated when she realized what happened, and Lord Vishnu felt bad, so he granted her a boon, which is a favor, blessing, or benefit, to allow her to be reborn as Tulsi. Now, when he did this, he declared that no prayer to him would be complete without the Tulsi plant. And in some stories, he actually turned into a stone and married her so that he could restore her chastity, okay? So that's what that first festival that we talked about, that's what they were reenacting, okay? Hold on, why is this showing up twice? I must have put these in here twice. Okay, so there are many other versions of this story. Some of them say that Vrinda actually put a curse on Vishnu after she found out what he did, and the curse was that his wife would one day be kidnapped, which comes true later on in the stories, okay? And then there's other stories that say his consort, which is Lakshmi, okay, which I have been led to Lakshmi, so we're definitely going to talk about her in another video. So it says that she was jealous of Vrinda and put a curse on her and turned her into the Tulsi plant. And then in other forms, it's Lakshmi that turns into the Tulsi plant. So y'all, I don't know, whichever one resonates with you, child, whichever one resonates with you. When it comes to mythology, there's always different versions, okay? So let's talk about Tulsi and Lord Krishna, okay? Now, Holy Basil, Krishna is the common name for Ocimum teniflorum. Remember, we went over that earlier. It is said that no offering made to Krishna is complete without Tulsi, and that he will not accept offerings without it. It's also said that worshiping Krishna daily with Tulsi will help the worshiper obtain all the benefits that come from charity work and sacrifice. As if they actually did the charity work and sacrifice, but they really didn't. All they did was worship Krishna with Tulsi every day, okay? That's what I'm taking from this. Now, essentially, doing this takes the place of charity work, sacrifice, and other religious spiritual duties. It's also said that doing this will release ancestors from the cycle of birth and death. Now, the only thing I could think of was reincarnation. So is this saying that they don't have to keep carnating onto this? I was about to say some stuff about the world that wasn't positive, but I'm not going to do that. But y'all know in 2023, ever since 2020, stuff has been rocky down here. So, yeah. We might need Lord Vishnu to turn into one of his avatars and come back down on Earth to help us out, okay? I don't know if I went over this or not, or maybe it's coming up in a slide after this, but just in case I don't have this in here, Lord Vishnu is a very powerful deity in Hinduism, and every once in a while he will take the form of an avatar, which is basically a human form, and come down onto the earth to kind of, help with the chaos that's going on. So Krishna is one of Lord Vishnu's avatars, okay? Now, here we go. I guess it was the next slide. I got ahead of myself. My bad. Okay, so Krishna is considered the 8th avatar of Vishnu, and an avatar is a descent or incarnation of a powerful deity, goddess, or spirit on earth. The human form of the deity, basically. So, for example, there are some people that believe that Buddha was an avatar of Vishnu. So that's the one that most of us have heard about at this point, whether or not we are into Hinduism. So that's an example that we all may be able to relate to. Or maybe kind of like how God, I guess, used Jesus to kind of sort of reincarnate himself on earth, but not really. Anyway, forget I said that. Okay, so the name Krishna means black, dark, or the all attractive, okay? And he is the personification or incarnation of Vishnu, but he's also very powerful in his own right as well, okay? So Krishna is the god of protection, compassion, and love. He is the Lord of Yoga. However, from my research, it looked like Shiva is also a Lord or God of Yoga as well. So I believe there might be 3 of them. But Krishna is one of the Lords of Yoga. He also is called Yogavatara, which is avatar of yoga. His festival is called Krishna Janmashtami, which celebrates his birth, and his day of the week is Wednesday. Okay, so if you're wanting to pay homage to him or something, you might want to do it on a Wednesday. Okay, so let's talk about Tulsi and Rama. Now, Holy Basil Rama is the common name for Ocimum sanctum. It is an avatar of Vishnu, and Rama is one of the most popular ones at that. He is considered to be the supreme being in Rama-centric traditions of Hinduism. Okay. Rama is also thought to be the embodiment of Dharma. A lot of us know what karma is, but there's Dharma and some other principles as well. Now, Dharma is the concept with multiple meanings, so there's no specific one word that it translates to. Some people say it means righteousness or merit. And Dharma could represent religious and moral duties as well. And in Buddhism, it means cosmic law and order. Now, Rama was married to Sita, which is an avatar of Lakshmi. How the heck do I go backwards? I don't know if I can go backwards, but he was married to Lakshmi, which is an avatar of, or Sita, which is an avatar of Lakshmi. I don't know what the heck happened to that other slide. I was moving too fast, so my bad. He's the central character in ancient Hindu epic or the story Ramayana, which is popular in Southeast Asian and South Asian cultures. If you want to see what was on the other slide, y'all, just rewind and pause and read what was on it, because I clicked on it too fast, okay? And it's not letting me go backwards. Let me see. Will it let me go backwards? I don't think so. So yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to Rama, y'all. Let's go on to VANA, because I wanted to talk about Rama. So VANA, I couldn't find anything linking the name or the word to Vishnu. However, Vanamali is a name for Krishna, who is an avatar of Vishnu. So both of them, so Vana may be connected to Vishnu because he's connected to Krishna. Okay, you get what I'm saying? So Vanamali could be or Vana could be short for Vanamali, which would connect it to Krishna, and Krishna is connected to Vishnu. Okay, that was kind of confusing. Okay, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this slideshow now, and then we're going to talk about Rama. I'm gonna bring the slideshow back up later in this, and then we'll talk about him as well. So that's what I have for the spiritual and practical uses for Tulsi, aka Holy Basil. But again, stay tuned so we can go over Rama. I'm gonna have to add that in StreamYard while I am uploading this video, y'all. So my bad, I was clicking too fast. Okay, thank you for watching. Okay, y'all, so like I said, I'm going to have to go ahead and just go over the slides that I accidentally clicked through so fast. Y'all, like, it is so hard to time PowerPoints and all of that. So it really wasn't too much important that I missed from this slide. So basically, the part that I wasn't able to basically tell y'all is just how when I basically made the connection between Lakshmi and Vishnu with Tulsi, that's when I realized why I was drawn to Holy Basil. I have been heavily drawn to Holy Basil for a few years now, but I just never got around to getting it. But it never left my mind. Like, you need to get that. You need to get the hydrosol, which is the water form. You need to get the essential oil. You need to get the plant. You need to get all of it. Okay. So once I realized that it was connected to Vishnu, and Lakshmi is his counterpart, and she is the counterpart to all of his avatars. So she has her own avatars and he has his own in every story. But that's when I realized, okay, this is why I've been drawn to holy basil, because it's also thought to be the embodiment of Lakshmi in some stories. And I've been drawn to Lakshmi for a while. So she was the first person I was drawn to. I was also drawn to Oshun. Now, Oshun is the Yoruba form of Lakshmi. So you can pretty much find the deities in every single form of spirituality. They just have different names and slight differences, but they pretty much represent the same thing. So, for example, Athena in Greek mythology would be Minerva in Roman mythology, and maybe I forgot who she is in the Egyptian mythology. So it's the same. Lakshmi kind of corresponds with Oshun in what is that, the Yoruba mythology. So I was drawn to Oshun. I did altar for Oshun, and I showed y'all how I did it on here. And then I was drawn to Lakshmi, and that's when I realized they have a connection. They're basically the same, the goddesses of um prosperity, beauty, material things, all that kind of stuff. I'll go into Lakshmi in a whole different video. But me being drawn to her and being drawn to holy basil, and holy basil pretty much being connected to Vishnu, who is her counterpart, I was like, okay, everything is connected. So that's the part that I missed on going over this Rama portion of it. Now, Rama is the central character, like I said, in the ancient Hindu epic Ramayana, which is popular in Southeast Asian. I cannot talk today, y'all. Southeast Asian and South Asian culture. I'm most interested in studying this avatar further because the stories connected with Rama seem to kind of line up with me having a Capricorn moon. So my name is Capricorn Moon Goddess because my moon sign is in Capricorn. I have Capricorn stellium, and Saturn is in some places that I don't appreciate it being at, like my work life in my birth chart, 6th house. So just the stories about Rama, who is an avatar of Vishnu, that kind of lines up with my Saturn placements in my birth chart. So that's why I'm more interested in studying him in particular. So I might do some more videos on him. And Rama, the plant, is actually very short, and I'm short too. I'm 4'11", y'all. I was at the store the other day getting my son some shoes, and the worker was like, now you let me know if you need help, because some people like to climb the shelves. And like, it's funny because he said that because I'm short. So, he already knew. And us short people will climb some shelves. We will stand up on the shelf to try to reach something. Okay. We don't got time to be waiting for somebody to come help us. But anyway, so that's it. That's all I wanted to discuss with you all. So let me stop sharing my screen because I don't like sharing my whole screen because y'all need to see everything that be popping up on my notifications and all that. So that's it. Thank you for taking the time, especially if you watch to the end. Let me know if you have any other information you want to add about Vishnu or holy basil or Lakshmi or Krishna or Rama or anything that we talked about. Please feel free to let us know. If there's something that you're interested in studying or learning more about as far as a herb, essential oil, or a character in some folklore tradition, it doesn't have to be Hinduism, let me know. I may look into it and do a video on it. So once again, thank you for taking the time to watch, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Please like, share, and subscribe. Toodles.